Are paid Facebook ads worth it? What if you could triple the amount spent on an ad campaign and booking revenue for your inflatable rental business? In this episode, we're going to give you the tips and tricks to make it happen. But first, this podcast is brought to you by BounceWave Inflatable Sales, the fastest growing commercial inflatable supplier in the USA. In addition to incredible quality and customer service, we offer designs proven to rent and take inflatable rental businesses to new heights. Visit www.buywhatrents.com or bouncewaveslidesales.com for more info. Now on to the show. What's up, guys? This is Austin here with another episode of Bounce Pros Unplugged. I'm here with a special guest from South Alabama, right outside of Mobile. This is Brandon Bolton. He's one of our really good BounceWave customers, has a lot of our equipment, has a lot of other equipment from other manufacturers as well. Quite successful. Brandon, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, kind of give me your story, where you came from, what did you do before, what got you into inflatables, that kind of thing.
Morning, guys. Like Austin said, my name's Brandon Bolton, down here in South Alabama. Thank you, Austin, for having me, for sending me the invite. You know, he reached out the other day, and I was absolutely, let's make this happen. But again, my name's Brandon Bolton. We're in a small town of Sims, Alabama, just outside of Mobile. We've been in the inflatable world about 2.5 years now. We're into our third summer. Before we got into this, I was a scaffold builder with Brock Services for 11 years, and I was a site manager over our ExxonMobil accounts, and I was traveling all the time. And then right when I left that and went to a company called Evonik here in Mobile. And when I did that, I had to take an $8 an hour pay cut to start, but I knew the long run it was going to be better for my family. So to circumvent that, I needed to find some other sources of income. And man, we ordered one of these inflatables. We ordered a water slide just like everybody else probably. You know, my story's probably, cliche just like everybody else's. We ordered a water slide. The guy calls me on a Friday night about 7 o'clock. He's like, "Hey, Mr. Bolton, I know that I'm supposed to drop this off tomorrow, but can I go ahead and drop it off tonight?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, come on." They show up about 8:30, 9 o'clock that Friday night. I done had a couple drinks. You know, these guys go to setting it up. I'm like, I'm going to go help them. You know, I was that guy. Let's go help him.
Yeah,
I was probably in the way, probably way more in the way than I was helping. But I got to talking to him, and he's like, "Man, this is the 11th slide I've dropped off today."
Wow.
And I knew what I paid for was like $482 because I bought the insurance. I was that guy too. And I done had a couple drinks, but I could do that math pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I was like, 11 slides times this. I'm like, this don't take a whole lot of, you ain't got to be, you don't got to be a brain surgeon to figure out that adds up pretty quick. That kind of got the ball rolling, in my head. And it actually took me about 2.5 years to talk my wife into doing it.
Okay.
It took a lot for me to talk her into it, and finally, she agreed to 3 at one point.
Okay.
And I was like, "Babe, we can't do 3. You got to look at insurance, your licenses." I said, "If we're gonna do it, I'm gonna be legit. I'm not gonna be that guy." So she agreed to 5, and I got with Chris in November of 2021. And we made an order for 6. She told me 5. I went with 6. I asked for forgiveness a little bit.
Yeah.
And man, they come in March of 22, and we hit the ground rolling in March of 22, and we scaled from there pretty quickly.
Nice. And so when it sounded like your wife was a little bit hesitant at first, was that because she was kind of worried about work-life balance and working on the weekends and being able to spend time?
A little bit all of that, because we didn't know where we was going to get help, because we knew we was going to have help. Family says they're going to help, but family's not going to help. They're all about it at first, but then once it comes down to work, it's, they got things to do.
Yeah.
And then it was also the cost. We had just started that newer job, and by that, like I said, we'd taken the big pay cut, and I was working that first year where I took that $8 pay cut. I was working 3 jobs. I started, but we had to do it. But I knew long run, it was more beneficial.
Right.
Knew long run, this was going to be better for my family, and I just made sacrifice. And we did that. We worked 3 jobs that first year. She's like, "Brandon, we can't add something else. We can't. There's no way that we can add something else time wise. And you're working 3 jobs, and we're barely making the ends meet right now. Like, we don't have the extra to go spend and buy all this stuff. I just constantly was planning and showing her, because I didn't want to just do it without her. I wanted her blessing as well,
Absolutely.
because then you do that, that creates rifts in the marriage and everything
Right.
else. I wanted her
Yeah.
fully on board as well, and it took some convincing, and I was finally able to convince her, obviously, and we're just kind of here now. It's we've been blessed though.
Yeah, that's good. And it sounds like 'cause we hear so many of these companies, and a lot of them, the most successful ones and the ones that really grow and kind of get it fastest are the ones that when they start, it's okay, if we're going to do this, there is no losing.
Yeah,
It's
that.
there's no
Hmm.
option. And it kind
That's
of sounded like you were in that position, which explains exactly why you're in
uh,
the position you're in now. So,
yeah, and what helped when with her delaying and kind of pushing back a little bit, what that did, it allowed me to plan for 2 years. I was able to research manufacturers, research insurance, research I mean, that just pick this business apart, and when we did get started, I felt like I was ahead of the curve because I had the time to do the planning and figure out which routes I want to go, and some of that goes out the window though. You think it's going to be like this, and then you get started in
yeah.
this, and it's not at all what you expected, or sometimes plan A goes out the window, but you learn in this business, and you got to learn fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool, man. How many inflatables are you at now?
We're right at 39
Oh,
inventory. We started with 5, like I said, or 6, and then we bought a few more that year through year one, and then last year we did a lot of buying. Last year we did a lot of buying, and we grew substantially. And then coming into year 3, we added a few more, and we just added 3 more this week, which is a dunk tank, the Dino Struction toddler combo from you guys,
yeah.
which is super cool. That
Yeah.
thing's awesome, and we added a wrecking ball, trying to build that event inventory. But yeah, so in 2.5 years, we went from 5 or 6 to right at 40 now.
Wow. That's awesome. I think a lot of that is because a lot of that research you did, and too, I was taking a look at your site and kind of listening to you and reading, your thoughts on the different forums and commenting different things, and you know how to get people to visit your website, you know how to get people to call you. So that's a big
Hmm.
deal, and that's a lot of that scaling is getting the people there and having the right equipment to do it. But
That's exactly right.
anyways, guys, a big reason I bought Brandon on is because he is one of the best I've seen as far as the inflatable rental industry at utilizing Facebook ads and Google ads at a high level and doing it right and actually using these the right way. And he actually gets these people to his website and gets them to convert or gets them to call. And so I wanted to give the listeners kind of some insight because you're kind of what I would call an expert in the paid advertising field. So let's go ahead and get into kind of the game of advertising and content. We'll jump in a little bit of SEO in here, not too much, but just a little bit. But let's talk about getting leads if you're a brand new inflatable rental business. And I'm sure you remember pretty clearly because it wasn't too long ago that you were just starting out.
Hmm.
And when you first started, what were the methods that you did to get your name out there, to get people to call you or to book on your website? What did you find to be some of the most effective ways to do that when you first started out?
When you're first starting out, man, you don't have a whole lot of capital, right? So you got to find ways that are fairly cheap to get your name out there. And Facebook is, besides the paid stuff, Facebook is free, right? Facebook is absolutely free, and that's the avenue we took from the jump. We we made a huge announcement post first off, and bugged our friends to death about sharing, getting it out there. And then we joined every Facebook group around. I mean, we took every free route that you could do as far as Facebook went, to help get our name out there. And then we also, besides Facebook, we had the signs made. We joined our Chamber of Commerce, which in our small little town, and then also Mobile, and then a couple surrounding areas. We we got involved in the community. That's one of the best ways is get involved in the community. And if you get out and get involved in the community and support the community, is going to support you. And that's the route we wanted to go. And that helped us a ton as far as free. Joining your Chamber of Commerce has cost a little bit, but it's pennies. It's not a whole
Yeah,
lot at
yeah,
all. And they have a ton of free networking events and a ton of events that they put on to help you network and get your name in front of everybody and create those contacts. And that's what we did that first year. We joined those groups, and we were at every event. We joined other networking events or networking groups that were specifically based for, they only allowed one genre of business in these groups, and we'd all come together and help get leads for everybody. But those are your free ways.
yeah,
Anything free when you're first starting out, anything you can do free wise to get your name out there is what you got to do, and you got to hustle.
yeah,
You
yeah,
gotta you
definitely.
gotta hustle.
Yes, I know we're a part of quite a few different chamber of commerces here with
Mm-hmm.
our rental company. And really, that opens the door to a lot of local festivals that
That's
bring
exactly right. Mm-hmm.
thousands of people. I mean, we've been doing festivals. I remember, working and collecting tickets at the front of bounce houses
Yep.
since I was 8 years old. And we still do it to this day because
Yep.
even if we go to a festival, and there's been plenty of them where we've just donated it or didn't charge, you're getting your equipment, you're getting your face out there, you're getting to hand out business cards to people, and that's a huge deal. So yeah,
That's
I really
exactly.
I like that you brought that up about sometimes people just think, hey, let me blow these things up, take some pictures, post them on my Facebook, post them on TikTok, and then they're like, why am I not getting calls?
That's
You
exactly
got
right. Yep.
people got to, you got to get some credibility in your community. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think joining the Chamber of Commerce, joining any sort of local small business owners groups, and then joining those Facebook groups as well. I know some of them can have spam and stuff now, but still worth doing it because you never know, who's
Yep.
going to see that post.
But we would do, like, our Chamber of Commerce holds a huge Azalea Festival every year, and there's thousands, probably 10,000 people that attend this event. We just sponsor, and we still sponsor it to this day. But
Nice.
that's how we got our foot in the door with sponsoring that event. That got usually your Chamber of Commerce and your cities work hand in hand, and by just sponsoring that event, that got our foot in the door with our city here. And now we probably do $15,000 a year easily with the city of Sims, just
Wow.
because we sponsored that one event,
Yeah.
with the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome, man. So let's talk about, so at this point, you kind of are talking about the things you did when you first started without, because 99% of these startup inflatable rental companies, a lot of your investment is going straight to your product or to your truck and trailer. So like you said
Mm-hmm.
earlier, there is no advertising budget. So at this point, you're starting to get your name out there to the community. You're posting on Facebook, you're posting on the forums. At what point did you have a website built before you got your product? Did you just use Facebook first for a while? How?
We use the RS. I had launched with the RS. I was onboarding when we launched our company, but the website wasn't quite ready yet. We'd already went that route, and that was part of something I could do before. If I could go back and do again, I would onboard them a little bit sooner. But when we first started, the first few months, we were just strictly Facebook because we didn't have the website, and we just strictly through Facebook Messenger, and that's how we went. And I was using my calendar on my phone to keep up with bookings and
Yeah.
and whatnot. But yeah, we did it straight through Facebook Messenger, and that was, our phone number was out there, but nobody knew it. So we're getting one or two calls a week maybe, but 98% of bookings those first few months was through Facebook Messenger.
And then so you got the website built. I was looking at it, and it's really pretty strong as far as including, those local SEO optimized keywords and the different
Mm-hmm.
links. Was that, did you hire somebody to do that? Was that
I
something that you got
did.
in? Yeah.
I did, man. Quick story. I run down to Ocala, Florida to buy a slide, and I get about 30 minutes from Inverness Inflatable. It's great people down there, and my trailer has an accident on southbound. Catastrophe on the interstate. I had to leave the trailer on the side of the road. I get to Walt in his house and pick up this inflatable, and Justin and Liz with Premier Inflatables down there pulls up, and I'm like, "How y'all doing? My name's Brandon." And Walt, and they introduced me to Justin and them, and I get to tell them about my trailer, and Justin, let's go get it. Let's go get it. I'm like, dude, you don't know me from nobody. You're just gonna help me like that, and him and Liz did. They come and got it, and we got back to their warehouse. And long story short, we sat there till midnight talking shop, and they told me about Jamie with Maverick Digital Solutions.
Okay.
One of the best conversations I've ever had, and that's who I use is Jamie with Maverick Digital Solutions. This guy is a guru. He does all my Google ads, all my SEO. I have an ERS website, but Jamie updated it and built
Gotcha.
me a premium website. So everything on that website, Jamie takes care of that, and I wish I knew Jamie from day one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's a huge part of why we're at where we're at too.
And that's really a blessing too, because it's hard to find somebody that is strong in SEO and website building that is one, dependable, two, reasonable with how much they cost. That's really good that you found that person. And that's a good point too, that SEO and using your website to show up higher on search rankings and bring in organic traffic, it's evergreen. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't just hire somebody one time and they do a few pages and that's it. It needs to stay updating because Google is constantly updating
That's right.
their bots that crawl these websites to determine website rankings, all that kind of things. Yeah, no, that's good to hear, and it's good to see that you found somebody that you can trust, and it definitely looks like they know what they're talking about. So,
Yeah,
anyways, go
he's
ahead.
great.
Yeah,
He's just great. I just can't say enough great things about Jamie. He's if you're looking for SEO or Google or anything like that, it's Jamie Matney with Maverick Digital Solutions.
okay. So then let's move into the Facebook ads. I would say I'm a little bit familiar with Facebook ads. We run some of the carousel ads with BounceWave, more on a
Mm-hmm.
nationwide scale. But I'll be honest, I've never boosted a post before. So tell me about what made you decide, first of all, to start utilizing Facebook ads and paid advertising with Facebook, and then kind of go into where you're at now, what your numbers kind of look like now with that.
I was, just like anybody else scrolling on Facebook and I kept seeing these ads pop up and it says sponsored at the top. I'm like, well, obviously they're paying, to be here. And I, my mind, I'm like, how do you do that? I mean, I had nobody to ask, so I just start Googling. I'm like, how do I get a paid ad on Facebook? And it pretty much outlined, what I needed to do. And what I did first is I set up a call with Facebook. They'll call you and you set up an ad with them and whatnot. And usually when they do it like that, it's like the carousel ads. It's the ads that you make that run um and whatnot. And we did those for a while, and I didn't have a lot of success with them. One and two, honestly, it was hard to track how much they were really, revenue wise, what I was getting off of it. It didn't seem like it was helping a whole lot. And I was like, man, there's got to be a different way. And then I got to looking, and I discovered the boost in the ads. And basically, you take a post that you make on your business page that you create, you post it on your business page, and then it gives you the option. You'll see a little blue box down in the bottom that says boost post. And I was like, let's check this out. We did one of our first ones, and the response was great. I'm sorry. One of the first ones I did was kind of like the carousel. Like I just tried to send them straight to the website. The results just weren't there. Like we was getting a little bit, but it wasn't what I would expect. So we kind of got away from pushing people directly to the website. So then I was like, you know what? A lot of Americans are curious. They've got questions. That may be why they're not booking. They may be going to the website, but they might be booking because they've got questions. Just not sure of how it works. And so that's when I started utilizing the messenger.
Okay.
And when I started that is when we really started driving sales,
Really?
because people were reaching out to me and with a lot of questions. And what you realize is people want to talk to somebody. They want to be sure about what they're doing. One, two, they want to make sure everything's legit, because in this world you can't ever be too careful. And I think it just gives them a sense of peace, a sense of comfort. Just talking to somebody and just having any type of questions answered and whatnot. And that's when we really started our boosted posts really started taking off, is when we started giving people the option to message us, is when we really, we're really seeing numbers grow, really
Yeah,
seeing sales take off.
that's awesome. So it's funny you mention that, because we've had Extreme, our rental company, for over 20 years now, over 100 inflatables, and to this day, Jason, you still cannot book an inflatable on our website. You have to call to reserve, because he's always, and he still is, and he's had people tell him, "You're crazy for still doing it by phone and doing all that." And he's, no, people want to hear somebody, and it doesn't necessarily have to be over the phone, but they want to message somebody, because that builds trust.
Yep.
And two, I use that as an opportunity to kind of figure them out, and I might be able to upsell them on something, or I might be able to get them to rent tables and
100%.
chairs.
And it creates the personability with everybody too. It creates that relationship. In this business, it's all about repeat business, right? If you're not trying to create a customer for life, then why are you doing this? That's how you sustain. And when we talk with that customer, we're building that relationship, and they're more apt to come back to us next time because we have established that relationship with them.
Yeah, yeah. And he's evolutionized a little bit to where now we're considering to where you can book online, but right away, once you send that booking, you're going to get a follow-up call. Just to put a
Yep.
voice with the company,
Mm-hmm.
get a feel for that person. Because you got to figure out that customer too that made that booking. They could be totally out of their mind, and then you send this driver out and takes their whole weekend, and it becomes a terrible drop-off. So with those boosted ads, you were talking about, the first one was to visit the website, and then the second one was click to message, to go to Messenger. For those that don't know, those are called call to actions. On any time you have any sort of advertisement, your call to action is what determines if somebody actually engages with your post, and they will need to use that call to action to do whatever you're trying to get them to do, whether that's sign up for your company directory that you send email blasts to, whether that's to call, to message. Call to actions are a big deal. So you switched it over to Messenger. Let's talk a little bit more about the actual ads themselves and the content within the ads. Do you find, and of course it's always an experiment with paid ads like this, but what kind
Mm-hmm.
of content do you find to be the most engaging, the most clicked? Is it pictures? Is it small videos? Is it a certain type of
It's a
picture?
it's got to be they got to be quality pictures, right? The ad, you can get an ad in front of as many people as you want to, but if it doesn't catch their eye, if it doesn't pop, if it doesn't make them slow their scroll a little bit, it's not doing anything, right? And you've got to, in order to do that, you've got to make it stand out. One, with quality pictures, you got to have quality pictures, or video. If you put a video up, it's got to be a short,
Short,
30
right?
second, because people aren't engaging any longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
But videos are great, but if you're going to do a video, it just needs to be quality and to the point, showcasing your inflatables or whatever you do pretty quickly. And then as far as pictures and stuff go, they've got to be really high quality pictures. And there's a ton of apps that you can go to that you can get that, that you can enhance your pictures. You can cut and you can paste, and the ad itself is just as important as the audience that you try to put it in front of. What we do is I've never used an emoji in my life until I started Facebook ads. We load them down with emojis and capital letters and just try to make it stand out and be as fun and inviting as we can.
What kind of captions on, what do you do? What are you saying, like, book this for your birthday party?
Yeah, and that's another thing I forgot to say. I'm glad you brought that up. We get our most out of sale ads, right? if you can make that mom think she's saving some money and
Okay.
she's getting a deal, then that's where you want to be. That's where nobody wants to walk into the store and go straight to the rack that costs full price,
Hmm.
right? And we want to make it look like they're getting a really good deal. Advertise a sale, advertise a deal, advertise a special, advertise something like that. And that's where we see our greatest returns. If we say we got some type of special going on or something like that, that's where we see the most return and most messages come back, or most clicks and everything. The whole 9 yards lines up.
It's funny you mentioned that because before, say 15 years ago, before the Facebook ads and everything like that were a big deal, Jason, he was known around here for, we'd have signs that would say, home of the $89 bounce house.
Exactly.
And there were a lot of restrictions to that $89.
Yep. Yep.
So 99% of the time when people called, they weren't end up getting an $89 bounce house.
That's exactly
But
right.
they called because they saw that sale and they were like, man, that sounds great. And so it's kind of that same thing here, is make it look like you're providing a value to that person.
Yep.
And then when you can get them to click, that's it. You got it going.
That's
I like
exactly
that.
right. And that's what I'm just trying to pull up our page and see the ad that we're running right now. It's got a few emojis, and then it's got summer deals are here. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, more emojis, and then we take a couple spaces and then we, outline what's going on. We've got really big water slides, really nice pictures that, that are going to grab your attention. And if y'all want to take a look at that, you're more than welcome to go to our Facebook page, South Alabama Inflatables. And anytime I've got a boosted ad running, I always key it or pin it at the top of my page. Always.
Smart.
When somebody goes to my Facebook page, I want that to be the first thing they see. And then, because that also contains a link to my website.
Gotcha.
Any boosted post that we run always contains a link to the website. We try to, like the call to actions that you mentioned earlier, I try to have 3 of them in there. I have the link to my website, our phone number, and then we have the click to message button on there. So there's 3 ways that they can contact us, or view our products or whatnot.
Yeah. It's important to make it easy for them to be able to contact you. That goes for your website. Is there shouldn't be anywhere on any page or any product that there isn't a button or something that says click here to call us.
That's exactly right.
So as far as setting up a boost post, on the boosted post, you get to determine, or pick, I should say, the demographics, right? So do you
That's
get to
right.
pick, like, the location, the age, interests?
And all that's just as important as the ad itself, because one, if you're not putting the ad, locating it to where your delivery area is, you're wasting money. And that's where a lot of people make a mistake. Is, I'm sure y'all see it too, 3 or 4 times a day there's an ad that comes across my Facebook for an inflatable company in Arkansas or New York or somewhere like that, because they haven't zeroed in on their locations. You're throwing money out the window. I didn't realize that. And one of my first posts that I ever made, I got a call from a lady in Arkansas. And I'm like, how'd you see my ad? She's like, oh, it's running here. I'm like, no, there ain't no way. So that got me curious. I went in, dug a little deeper, and found out why. I'm like, okay, this is what we need to do. We need to zero in on this location.
Yeah, definitely. And the same
And
thing
show.
goes for Google Ads too, because you can set your locations in your areas that you want that ad to be displayed.
That's exactly right. You can, Facebook gives you options. When you first open the boosted page ad, and it pulls it up and asks you how you want to set everything up. It gives you options. First of all, for your audience, it says, do you want to choose people you choose through targeting? I've tried every one of these. People you choose through targeting, people who like your page, and people similar to them. I've tried all of them. Or you can create a custom that you want and how you want to attack your audience. And that is what we found best, is if we create a custom ad set just for us.
Yeah.
And that's where we started seeing, a lot of this was trial and error for us, because we didn't know. So up front, we were probably in the red on these ads because we're trial and error.
Right.
Like I said, what worked best for us is us creating a custom audience. It drops down into your location, and you want to put all your major cities around you that you deliver to on these locations. And actually, we do all of our major cities around us is like plus 20 miles. And we've probably got 15 to 18, just off the top of my head, cities around us that I want these ads in, because our radius, we go up to an hour out.
Okay.
We go to an hour from us. So we have a broad area that we're trying to attack. So location wise is huge. You got to zero that in, and your route, you may want to stay 10 miles.
When you say location, are you typing in or are you setting it by cities, zip codes, counties?
You can do it two different ways. You can select your location and give a parameter. Like, it'll ask if you want to do from your location everything within 25, 30 miles. You can make that range as big as you want to make it. That little that bubble would ask you. If you don't want to go city by city, you can say, you can make that bubble as big as you want, and it'll cover a circumference for a certain amount of miles is where your ad goes to. That's worked for us. But what I prefer is adding in each city one by one of all my surrounding cities that we deliver to. That's just what worked best for us, is adding in each city one by one.
And I think that makes sense. Facebook's system is ran, when it displays these ads, it's ran by an algorithm. And I think by highlighting the specific cities that you want that ad to show in, I think you're almost assisting that algorithm to show up there.
That's right. And that's what I wanted to be 100% sure that my ads are going to that city.
Yeah.
And that's why I was there, because it says it's in that bubble, but is it focusing on that right there? And that's what I wanted. I wanted direct focus on that city there, that I knew my ad was being delivered there. I wanted to zero in on my target, basically. Yeah. That's what I wanted. I wanted it there. And that's why we went that way.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so highlight there, when you're setting your location, if you decide to do these ads, it's recommended to actually type in the cities or the specific areas you want, more so than just setting that radius, especially if you're trying to target a certain area. Sometimes, I know we've targeted ads before where it's just an area that we want to grow in and get more business in. So we've done ads specifically just that area and right around it. So when you're trying to do something that's specific like that, utilize setting your locations by specific cities or certain locations, that kind of thing. So let's move on to the next part of the ad, which is
age. It's going to ask you what age range that you want. When we first started this, I think the generic is like 18 to 64 plus. I was like, I want everybody to see my ad. Click, And then what I got to seeing was the people that were 18 to early 20s, they were inquiring, but they didn't have the money. They didn't have any money usually when I would tell my price, it was crickets after that, because they just didn't have the funds. I mean, they're just starting out. They just don't have it. And then we seen that we were getting virtually no messages from 55 and older, because they really don't need a inflatable unless there's some type of event ahead or something like that. It's very rare. So we zeroed in what we do. We do 23 to 55. That 23 is when most people start having their kids, when people start establishing families and they're starting to have birthday parties. So that's why we target that. And we go out to 55 because we want them first time grandparents. We want them grandparents that have young kids, young grandkids. Those grandparents are going to spend money. Those grandparents are going to be helping those young parents fund birthday parties sometimes.
Right.
Because those young parents may not have it, so they're going to help them. So that's why we go to 55, and that's, like I said, that's what's worked for us, and that's what a little bit of trial and error is. But that's where we're at with that, and that's just what works best for us, like I said.
So you got location, age, and then are there any other demographics like interests or anything like that?
Next is your gender, right? At first, we was doing both. We was doing everybody, all. And then what you start seeing is y'all probably see it too, but 98% of the people that message you or contact you is going to be the mom. Like, it's 9 times out of 10 the mom. And so we only select female. I only want my ads going in front of moms or women.
Yeah.
Because it's the people I talk to, it's very rare that it's a dad. I mean, it happens, but like I said, at least 8 to 9 out of 10 is going to be the moms at all times. So that we seen that was like, hey, I think I'm wasting money putting these in front of dads. So we scaled back and we went to female only, and that's helped us as well.
Any other things you set as far as when you're setting up your ad?
Absolutely. So when we go down a little further, you go to the interest. You can select different types of interest where people have set up on their Facebook, their likes and interest and whatnot. You can choose from all of these interests. There's so many different interests. There's tons and tons of them. But target is my interests are like stay at home mom, 0 to 3, 3 to 5, 7 to 9. And I can zero in on them, the parents that have kids in that age range. We do some parties for older kids, but probably 80% of them are going to be that 3 to 12 range,
Yeah.
for the most part.
Absolutely.
But then you can subsidize that and go parents of, if you want to target parents with kids only 3 to 5 years old, you can do parents 3 to 5. It gives you that option right there. And then you can just play with those interests of what matches. We do like childcare, early development education, birthday parties, spring break, toddler, child development, the summer. You can do seasons. We do summer, spring. There's just a ton of different interests right there that you can just zero in on.
We're very blessed that Brandon just gave us all those interests right there, because that can be the key to having a successful ad. And it's all trial and error. And some interests that might work in Brandon's area in South Alabama might not work in my area.
Mm-hmm.
So Facebook boosting ads, getting your ad in front of people is not a one-time thing. More than likely, it's not going to work well at your first ad. And it's going in there, trying different things, constantly, moving things around and finding out what works. But yeah, some of those interests that Brandon just gave, parents of certain ages, stay-at-home moms, that kind of thing, that's some pretty priceless info right there as far as getting interest in there, because it's not easy just sitting there thinking of interests. And I guess what you can do to help is put yourself in the situation of, okay, if I was a young or a mom of 3 kids and my son was having a birthday party coming up, let's say even the next 3 months, what are going to be some of my interests as far as looking to plan that party? So party planning, party decor.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
You can do birthdays. Like they have birthday month, like birthdays in June, birthdays in July, birthdays in
Mm-hmm.
August. If you want to try to get people start booking, in these later months, you can do birthdays in August or birthdays in September. And if they have that, then that ad may go in front of them.
Yeah.
So it's the opportunities on these interests is really endless. And I like that you said it is trial and error. It is 100% trial and error, and it's taken us a while to zero in and just figure out what works best for us here. Like you said, that's the same thing with the slides. The slide that goes out all the time here for me may not go out all the time for you. This is the same exact thing
Mm-hmm.
here. So you just got to figure out and play with it.
Let's talk about, so with boosted posts, do you set a budget like you do for a carousel?
I was going to say we absolutely set a budget, and this is trial and error again. So what we started, we wanted to be as cheap as we could, right? You're starting out, you don't have a whole lot of money, so you want to get as much as you can for as little as you can. So we started out with $5 a day, $5 a day ads, and we were running them for 10 days, and a $50 budget, and you just didn't see the impressions, and just wasn't getting them in front of a whole lot of people,
How many?
right? So
Do you remember how many people on average it was getting in front of?
I'd have to go back and look at that, but it was 500 to 1,000 people a
Okay.
day or something like that. Wasn't a great amount. And so what where we're at now is we do $20 to $25 a day budget, and we run these ads for 10 days, so anywhere from 200 a day, or for that campaign, right?
Okay.
For that, and that's not, we've tried more and we've tried a little less, but this is what makes the most sense for us. Is we've tried $40 a day. We've tried $50 a day for 10 days at one point, and we just didn't see the jump that you would expect to spend that much compared to what we were spending at the $20 to $25 a day. So that's kind of why we settled there, and that does a lot. You get your people out there. Like this one, it's in between 3,000 and 8,000 people to see your ad a day at that amount.
A day. Wow.
The ad we're currently running, we got a $350 budget, but we got it set for 14 days. We extended out a little bit further this time because this is actually our second run of this ad. It went the first time, so if it works, keep doing it.
Okay.
So we run it again a second time, and it's doing well again. We may just continue this ad through the summer if it keeps doing like it's doing.
Okay. So it sounds like too that $25 for the 10 days, that's that magic spot, but you had to
For
find
us,
it.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
you
had
got
to
to find
find
it,
it.
yeah, yeah, and it may be less in your area, but I would play
Yeah.
with it. Start at 10. So I wouldn't recommend starting at 5, but start at $10 a day and see if you're getting any traction. If you're getting traction, if it's working for you, stay there. If that's your budget needs to fit your budget. If it doesn't work, right? Don't take your whatever's in your bank account and dump it into this budget, and it don't work. Then you don't have no more money.
Right. Right.
You gotta. It's got to make sense for you. So I would start $10 to $15 a day and see what works for you. And if you see it, and that's what we done. And that's where we settled to 20 to 25. We was at 20. I've been doing 25 this year. We did 20 last year, and I bumped it up to 25 this year. It's done well. So that's where we're at.
And like Brandon said, it could be different in every area. Like I can tell you right now, here in Dade City, which is about 20 minutes from Tampa, which has a ton of competition and big companies, it might be a little bit more for me that we would have to set our budget on a boosted ad because there's going to
Yeah.
be more people boosting ads too, my competitions.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's an awesome point because we're saturated as well. We've probably got 10 legit businesses within 20 miles of each other.
Wow.
But then we've got a bunch of marketplace companies and
Yeah.
Facebook companies, I call them, the non-licensed, non-insured. They
Yeah.
got 2 or 3 rental-like inflatables. So you got all that competition to try to weed through as well with Facebook because they're absolutely advertising there too. That's why our budget is a little bit higher too because it is saturated.
Once you've ran, because this is what I'm setting up here, it's going to take a few ads to run before you can establish this. But how do you know when an ad works and when it doesn't? Like, are you looking at? Does it give you Do you have a conversion rate? What kind
Yeah,
of?
you can. What I'm looking at, so one thing I missed at the very beginning when you're starting this ad, it's going to ask you what your goal is. Is your goal to drive more people to the website or get more phone calls or whatnot? And that determines how Facebook tracks your ad, right? So what we always select now is we always select get more messages.
Okay.
I want Facebook to track how many messages I'm getting a day from this ad. So for us, I want 3 to 5 messages a day minimum. That's what I want. And I'll let an ad run for 3 days. If I'm not seeing that 3 to 5 a day on those ads, and Facebook also gives you, it'll say your cost per message, like
Right.
what it's costing you per message. And if I'm not getting that 3 to 5 a day, and my cost per message is over $10, then I'm pulling the plug on it after that third day. I'm stepping back and I'm punting, and we're creating something else.
So you might not even let the campaign run all the way through
Yeah,
if it's not working.
no,
That's good. That's a good point. I'm glad you brought
that's
that up.
exactly right. At 350 total ad budget, it don't take but one booking to pay for the ad itself.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
but I don't want to just let that $350 run. I don't want to just break even on that $350. I want that
Yeah. Yeah.
$350 to make me money. So I'm not going to sit there and let it. If I'm into it for 3 days at $75 and I don't have a booking and I'm not getting the messages that I'm pulling the plug on it. I'm just chalking that $75 up and I'm moving on to another one just because I want that action. I'm not just gonna just let that run its course. We're pulling the plug and we're gonna step back and go to something else.
Nice. I'm glad you brought that up. Real quick, so when you get a message from somebody, does it tell you, like when you open up Messenger from that person, does it tell you if they came from the ad, or do you have to go on the back
And
end of your ad and look?
it gives you the ad ID. It
Okay.
gives you the ad where they messaged you from, and then you can just see which ad it came from by that ad ID. And also Facebook keeps up with your how many messages that you get. But if you're running multiple ads at one time, you need those ad IDs to say, all right, this person messaged here, this person messaged there, and we do that as well. If our combos are lacking, or if I look out 3 weeks, I'm like, man, we really got some openings for combos. I really need to push those too. So I'll create an ad just for combos themselves and drive those. So sometimes we may have 2 or 3 ads going at once. So you definitely want that ad ID to be able to decipher which ad they come from, so you can see what's working essentially too.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I think a lot of the times you'll see people talk about how paid ads can just become a big waste of money, or something that turns into what we call an ad monster, where you're spending
Mm-hmm.
all this money and yeah, it might be working a little bit, but really you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
You have no idea what's working and what's not working. So I'm glad you're kind of talking about how you guys do things with that, because you got to track what you're
you got
doing
it. You got it.
in your
Yeah.
advertisements and
So
what's going on.
you an average ad for us was an average one's going to cost between $6 and $8 per message.
Okay.
That's about at $25 a day. That's around 3 messages a day, and we want to close at least one of those. If we're not getting, that's an average. $6 to $8 a message is average. 5 and less is really good. Like that, the one that we're running right now, I think the cost per message is like $3.23.
Wow.
So it's really, that's another reason why we're driving it, because its cost is down. But that's another metric that I look at. And then you can also go to the app.
Is it like the Meta Business Suite or something?
It is. All right. You can go to the ads manager for Facebook,
Okay.
and you can go in there, you go to metrics, and it's going to break down everything. Your impressions, your cost per clicks, your CTRs, if your cost per click is over a dollar, we need to boot. If your click through rates 10%, we need to step back and do that one's not working. So you can go to that app, and you can look at all the metrics and see what's working. And you can also do that when an ad doesn't work. You can go and see why.
Yeah.
Am I not getting in front of enough people, or are they seeing it but they're not clicking, they're not engaging with the ad? Is my audience wrong, or is the ad itself just not right? And that's what you can kind of dissect that in that ads manager, and kind of look at the numbers, and kind of troubleshoot, where do you need to do better?
Okay. And it sounds like too, because I think a lot of the times when people start thinking about ads and creating an ad themselves and demographics and how do I know how to look and see how it's performing, they get intimidated, and that's why they don't end up
Mm-hmm.
doing it. But with this, and I've used it before too, the analytics app. What was it called again? Facebook, the
It's an ads
ads
manager.
manager.
Yep.
It's pretty easy. You just open it up,
It's
and a lot of the times it's all right there on your
it's
dashboard.
all right there. I mean, it's got how much you've spent total, your whole time you've been boosting ads, or you can zero it in for a certain period. It's got every ad that you've ever ran, and you can click on that. I can go back to an ad 2 years ago and click on it. I was doing this yesterday. We had some ads when we first started that the cost per message was $1.06.
Wow.
I screenshot it and I was like, whoa, and I screenshot it and looked at everything that I did on that ad. And we're gonna go implement that again, because I don't know if I just forgot about that one or what. I was like, but that was legit.
Yeah.
But that's another great thing about it. You can scroll back and see, what did what in what months. And if you've already got an ad built, I can go ahead and take that ad that did that dollar and something of a message. I can just boost it again. I can just hit boost again, and boom, it's there. It's running again. Set my budget, and it's there. But that's a great tool to have.
When they message you, which I think that dollar per message is incredible. Even $6 to $8 per message is pretty good, because they're not just, when people think about or cost per click or wow, that sounds high. In a traditional sense of Google ads, yes, the cost per click, they're clicking on your website, but they might just click on your website, stay on there for 5 seconds and back out. Here with
Mm-hmm.
yours and this boosted post, they're actually starting a conversation with you,
That's
which
right.
gives you such a much higher chance and opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
really utilize that to kind of sell them and get them to book. So I like that idea of the send message thing. And then what's your conversion rate as far as from what I would call a qualified lead, which is somebody that has messaged you, to booking rate?
I want I want to be around 30% on that. That's
30%.
mine.
Okay.
If we can close 30% of the messages, then we're doing good, because you're gonna have, when you click on an ad on as a consumer, when you click on an ad on Facebook, it gives you like 5 different generic questions that you can ask, and some people just click on something on accident, and so you're gonna have a lot of stuff that's just people just window shopping and two so that you got to muddy through. And then you've also got the people that are inquiring, they're looking, but you don't have your book for that day, or you just can't make a sale because you don't have nothing available, or they're looking for a specific something that you don't have, obviously. So, but if we can close 30% of those messages, I'm happy with that.
And that's
Um,
crazy
I'm
high. Traditionally, in an advertising sense, if you can close 5 to 8%, you're doing good. So
Yeah,
30% is awesome.
our percentages are much high, and I think it's because you're talking to them, you're creating that relationship, and they want to book with you, and if they're on the fence about something and they don't know, or I have the ability to do whatever I want to right there. I can waive a deposit. I can waive a delivery fee. I can do whatever I need to do to make that sale.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you
And
know,
maybe let's say it's that unit is reserved for that day. You now have the opportunity to maybe switch them to something else.
that's exactly right. Yep, and see what it is. It might be going to a church or something that day. When the church, they don't. It doesn't matter what they
Right.
get. I can swap that unit out with what they want.
Yeah.
So when you're dealing with the bookings like that, you just have a lot of flexibility and a lot of power to make that sale, and that's why the percentages are higher with that, because you're involved, and they're not just on the website and it just shows, oh, it's not available, let's go somewhere else. You know,
The message button, but you also have it to where do you just post the link to your website in that boosted post, or is that also a button that they can click that says go to
no, I
website?
post a link.
Okay.
You can only do one button. You can only do one
Right,
button.
right. That's right. Okay.
I post a link at the bottom of the ad, or sometimes I include it, middle of the ad or somewhere in there, but 9 times out of 10, it's at the bottom, right? You can find all our inventory at blah 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 southalabamainflatables.com, and then I put our phone number, or give us a call and we'd be glad to help at our phone number. And like I said, I want to give those guys and the options to make things happen. I don't want to just limit them to that button, but most of the time they click that message button. But there are some times where they click that link and they go straight to the website and book there. That's also what's great about ERS is, right there towards the end of the booking, it has a, hey, how did you hear about us? So if they're online and they're booking and they click Facebook as how they heard about us, I can go, and ERS keeps track of all that.
And you can too with your website in the back end of it. They have something that's called a metapixel, and so it basically is a code that is produced by your ads account, and you can put that code into your website, and it
Mm-hmm.
actually will track every time somebody clicks that link on your post to go to your
I did.
website.
I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
something that I'll implement. I
Yeah.
didn't. I didn't. That's something I didn't know. That's awesome information.
Yeah, Google Metapixel, man. It's huge, especially with how many ads you run. It'll give
Yeah.
you even more insight because who knows when somebody books on your website, yeah, you ask them that question, but are they answering it right? Are they answering it at all? So it really just gives you
Yep.
insight, and to it actually, if you look deep into it, you can look at when they clicked on your website and where did they come from. You can look at their demographics. You can look at I think you can look at which ad did they click from to get to your website. So
That's
it
pretty
gives
cool.
you
Yeah.
all sorts of insight. So that's Metapixel for everybody
That's
else
awesome.
out
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Perfect. I'll definitely
Cool.
utilize that. Anytime we can dig deeper into the metrics and understand where my customer base is coming from, then you can just zero in even more. And anytime you can zero in any more, then your results are going to speak for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. I think this is some really, really quality conversation about using Facebook ads because there's some thoughts out there that either one, it doesn't work or it gets too expensive, or when really, if you know how to do it, if you do your homework, if you take the time to make the ad right, and if you're willing to experiment a little bit, obviously hearing you and hearing you talk and how many bookings you're getting from it, it's worth it all day.
It absolutely is, man. And Facebook, if we didn't boost posts, we wouldn't have done near what we done starting out, or where we're at, even where we're at today. I mean, that was Facebook was a total game changer when it comes to bookings and growth. If you're not utilizing it, you're missing a huge opportunity.
Have you had the chance to sit down and take a look at 6 month or year numbers on how much revenue you think those ads have brought in, or have you not been able to do that yet?
Yeah, man. I go by and when we first started in 2022,
And you
we
can
did
just say percentages. You don't have to say
yeah
actual numbers.
we
Yeah.
did in 2022. We did very first year we launched in March. We did 467 bookings total
Okay.
for the year. We did 233 of those were on Facebook.
Wow.
50% of our bookings, 50% of our revenue for the year was from Facebook. It was
Wow.
it was crazy. I thought that was an excellent first year.
Yeah.
So moving on to 2023, last year was our second full year. We did 890 bookings total in year two, and 336 of those were Facebook, 40%.
That's
But
nuts.
40% from Facebook. But in August of that year one, we implemented Jamie with
Gotcha.
Google.
Yeah.
So in year two, year one, Google was 25%. Facebook was 50, Google was 25. Year two, Facebook was 40, and Facebook come down a little bit, Google come up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But Facebook would have been even more. This 2023 and 2024, we're limited by inventory. We're so far in 2024, there's been one weekend where we haven't booked out on water slides.
Wow.
There's been one weekend, so we're limited by inventory, and when that happens, I pull back those Facebook posts. I pull back those budgets a little bit, because if you don't have anything to give anybody, you're wasting money unless you're book. Yeah,
Right.
and most people are booking. Most people are booking 2 to 3 weeks out.
Okay.
And if you see that you've got limited inventory for the next 2 to 3 weeks, you go ahead and pull back the ads a little bit, because you're gonna get those out. And then in 2024, so far this year, we've done 600 rentals total, and Facebook is right at 200 of those so far this year at 30%, and Google's right at 30%. But like I said, Facebook would be, even if we had additional inventory, which right now we're building. I don't know if you can tell that's when you start growing in this industry or what, but you kind of quit thinking about water slides a little bit, and you started thinking about events,
Yeah.
about how do I get these bigger events, and so we're taking what money, like this point last year, I was buying more water slides. Now I'm starting to buy event stuff.
Okay.
For the fall, we know we're starting to get into the tents, tables, and chairs, and I'm sacrificing, and then we're also buying a bunch of the games, a bunch of the interactive stuff. But that's why Facebook is at 30% this year, because we're limited by inventory.
I guess it's a good problem to have, almost.
It is a good problem to have. I'm not complaining a bit. We're very blessed. I'm not complaining, but it's because of Facebook that we're able to do that. But we're able to be booked out like that.
Yeah. And so listeners, don't think that you should just use Facebook ads and spend a bunch of money and that's what's going to get you business. If you listen to Brandon, he talked about, yes, he does utilize Facebook and Facebook ads, but you heard too that he also hired an SEO consultant to go in and build a very good local SEO campaign strategy and a really good optimized base for his website, because that in the long run is what is going to keep moving him up in Google rankings. Let's say, who knows what can happen with Facebook. Let's say the algorithm is off for a few months and all of a sudden Brandon's messages and engagement go down, and it could be no fault of his own. But even if that does happen, he still has his website and his ranking on Google and search traffic, because he also, invested in getting a good SEO base on his website, still get bookings. So it's important to remember that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But so in 2024, Facebook's 30%, Google's 30%, right? My budget for Facebook every month is between $600 and $750. With Google, with my Google ad budget, paying Jamie to do everything that he does and everything, I'm upwards of $1,500. So I'm getting the same amount of bookings from Facebook at a $600 to $750 budget as I'm getting that I'm paying for the Google. So budget wise, Facebook is the go-to right
Its
now.
return is higher currently.
If
Yeah.
return is higher,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. That's interesting.
But that's also because I do it myself.
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
do it yourself, you can absolutely save yourself money.
And you actually look at the numbers and look at actually
Mm-hmm.
what's happening. So it's important to know what's actually going on, so you can make
Yes,
these decisions like that.
absolutely. But it's imperative if you're serious about this business at all. It's imperative, whether you learn the SEO yourself or you hire somebody to do it. It is imperative that you do that. I would, if I could go back, I would almost let go of the Google ads at first and let somebody start my SEO first before I even started running Google ads,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's that big of a deal.
Yeah. Let's kind of work on closing it out here. Oh, that was really good with as far as Facebook advertising and kind of marketing and advertising your business in general. So I got some questions for you that I like to ask everybody. First, my question is, do you use TikTok for your business?
I don't. I need to. We're only one social media. We're Facebook, and that's
Okay.
it. Like I don't have nothing else, and I feel like I'm missing the bus there too. Like I've almost thought about hiring, a social media person just to run a couple other accounts and advertise on there. But if I had the extra more inventory, we'd do that.
Yeah.
But we're doing fine with what we're doing right now. But I feel like I'm missing out. It looks fun too.
It is. It's fun. It's a different format of content that you can do. And honestly, I haven't used TikTok advertising. I know you can do paid advertising on there. I don't know how effective it is as far as our industry goes, like inflatable rentals. If you're a business just starting out, listen, it's another free avenue that's going to get your name out there, because TikTok does have its algorithm is locally based. I don't think it's a bad idea to just post on there. It doesn't hurt if it's free. Let's move on to the next question. Now, if you had to go back and pick three of them to start with, because I get this question all the time, what are going to be the three pieces that you start with? And it can be specific. Like you can be like, I would pick a dyno, bounce house, or you can just kind of stay generalized in double lane slide or something like that.
Man, I kind of went against the grain with this, and I kind of went against Chris's recommendation, and a bunch of people's recommendation was, hey, start neutral, and they're like, hey, you got this. I went total theme
Yeah.
on my combo stuff. I went Dino, Pirate Ship, Unicorn, Princess. That Dino is number one. That Dino combo, I would absolutely start with that, and then I would go 18 foot, 18 foot. Give me a dyno combo and two 18-foot water slides.
Okay.
That's what I
Dyno
would.
combo,
That's what
two 18-foot water slides.
that's what I, and preferably dual lane. But if the very first thing I would buy before I ever bought my first inflatable, I'd buy an electric dolly.
Yeah.
It was it. If I could go back, it is a total game changer. It
Yeah.
is absolute game changer. And if you can't afford an electric dolly, get with BounceWave and get that Diamondback dolly. It's a huge, manual dolly that does a great job. But
Yeah.
if you can swing it, buy an electric dolly. It is a complete total game changer. That's what Liz and Justin down in Ocala hit me up that night at their shop and was like, "You got an electric dolly?" I'm like, "Nope, I can't afford one." They're like, "Yeah, you can. You got it. You got to do it." And they
Figure
and
it out.
they twisted my arm that night and made me put a deposit down on a electric dolly from Thomas at Rosal, and that's been the best thing. That I'm so grateful for that information and them pushing me to make that jump, because I tell everybody I can tell, if you don't have an electric dolly, you better buy one tomorrow,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's a game changer.
Those
I would say
three.
those three inflatables would absolutely what I would go with.
Yeah, it's funny. And it's hard because yet a lot of the times the gender neutral starting out is the way to go, but there's certain markets like yours, for example, that if you have quite a few established inflatable rental businesses already in a certain area,
Mm-hmm.
it might not be a bad idea to get some of that theme stuff
And
because you're going to grab attention.
set yourself apart, man.
Yep. Yep. So
Set
I
yourself
like that.
apart. We've got the jaws. We got an 18-foot jaws, and it, man, that catches. I'm in a warehouse now, and it's right on top of a major road here in Mobile, and I keep that thing blowing up out there.
Yeah,
And
smart.
it drives traffic, and it's a big heavy slide. It drives revenue, and it goes out an absolute ton. It makes money.
Cool. As we wrap up here, Brandon, if listeners have any questions as far as, or even just want to learn more about paid advertising, specifically Facebook paid advertising, do you use like YouTube or anything to try and walk you through that or give you some more insight or?
I don't, man. I've got a couple buddies that ask me questions and stuff, and I try to help them, but I've got so much else going on that I don't do any type of YouTube or anything like that. But people are more than welcome to message me, and I'll help out anybody that I can, as long as you're licensed and insured in this business. As long as you're doing it the right way, I want to help you. I'll help anybody that I can. I enjoy helping people, and I want to see everybody win. In this business, there's so much competition, and people just want to not see people do well, and I don't understand that. There's enough work out here and enough money out there for all of us. It's out there. You just got to go get it. Just because you drive down the road and you see somebody else's water slide at somebody's close to your house, I mean, be thankful for them. Be glad for somebody else is doing well too. So we want to see everybody succeed over here.
Yeah, I like that mindset. And two, competition makes me better. It
Absolutely,
makes
man.
me, because
That's it.
if not, I get stagnant,
Yeah,
and then
and
the
that's
next thing I
a
have somebody to pass me up.
that's another huge point is when you're starting in this, reach out to the other people in your area, reach out to the other companies, establish relationships with them, because there's been several times where I've been in a bind, and I've called one of my really good buddies, Cole with Pro Inflatables down here in Mobile. He's and then Chris Taylor with Blue Rents down here. They both have some BounceWave stuff, and we help each other out a ton. Like we work together,
Yeah.
and it makes life a ton easier. I established that relationship with Justin and Liz down there in Ocala. I still call Justin today a couple times a year and get his input on stuff because they've got a few hundred units, a couple hundred units. So he's more experienced than I am. Don't be afraid to reach out to somebody and ask
Mhm.
questions and get some advice and whatnot. Don't feel like you got to do everything yourself,
Yeah.
because in order to run a small business, it takes a village.
Right.
People
Right.
say it takes a village to raise a baby. It takes a village to run a small business too, you know.
And you never know
So
too in this business the amount of things that really can go wrong, and the how often you can get into a situation. Like you said, it's important to have people that you can call that might be able to help
absolutely,
you out.
y'all guys are the same way. If I ever have a question about anything, I give Chris a call or text Chris, and then he's on top of it. He's
Yeah.
telling me what I need to know and helping me out. So y'all guys have been an integral part of our growth as well. And there's no question that y'all make the highest quality
I
of
appreciate that,
anything that
man.
we have. If you're just getting into this, those three inflatables that I mentioned, you buy them from BounceWave because they have and I tell everybody that. That's just like I tell everybody about electric dollies. I tell everybody to buy from BounceWave because y'all have the highest quality stuff at last. That dyno combo probably has over 400 rentals on it in 2.5 years. It's close
Wow.
to four. It did 140 something or 120 something last year. I took a picture of it last week and it still looks brand new.
Is it an XL? Does it have a dual lane
Yeah,
slide?
yep.
Yeah,
It's a 7 and 1.
that's
Man,
the
it's
one.
it's 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 crazy. That unit cost me $4,000, and I could pull the metrics up on it. It's probably made me $50,000. It's
Wow.
it's it's
There you
it's
have it.
crazy.
There you have it, folks, right there. That's all you need to know.
It is. It's
Uh,
crazy.
awesome. Hey, thank you, Brandon, so much. You've helped a ton today. I think people are going to take this and hopefully utilize it in their business and get more traffic, get more leads.
Hmm.
I think we've provided them some insight that they're not going to get anywhere else when it comes to advertising and how to run a business and how to examine what's going on with your advertising and how to see if the money you're spending is worth it. Again, thank you so much, Brandon, with South Alabama Inflatables. Hopefully we'll have you on again soon. Maybe we can talk about Google ads or something like that, or shoot, we could just talk shop in general.
That's it, man. I could talk shop all day. I know you've been
Yeah.
trying to cut this off for the last 5 minutes, and
No,
I keep on.
no,
I can
man.
do this. I can do this all day, man. I love talking shop and business and with business minded people, man, and just that just want to see other people grow, because that's why you do this, because you want to see
Yeah,
other people succeed too.
absolutely.
That's a huge goal of this business, is to help.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a Star Spangled Splash sitting outside waiting on me to come drone it right now. So I'll sit here and talk all day, but I do want to get a good video of that
That's right. That's what
thing.
I got. I got a couple water slides to go deliver as well. Austin,
Awesome,
I
man.
appreciate it, man. Thank you, bud, and I wish y'all luck. And I'll be in touch.
All right. All right. Thank you, Bounce Pros. Once again, this is Bounce Pros Unplugged with Brandon Bolton, talking about Facebook ads. Thank you guys for listening and tuning in. See you next time.